If nobody else wants to say it, I'll say it. All right, the Sixers are a contender right now. They have become a contender with the return of Joel Embiid. This team is completely different. They have a different dynamic. This team is now back to what they were earlier this season. All right, as somebody who has covered this team the last, 4 years through the Ben Simmons situation, the James Harden situation, Tobias Harris, and a whole bunch of others, this has been the craziest whirlwind of a season ever. Like, James Harden began this season on the Sixers. He was traded. Then you start playing powerful and dominant, and it feels like you're going to be the number 2 or 3 seed locked in. Then your MVP goes down. There was no expectation to even begin the season, but now it's like, okay, the season's over. Joel's not coming back. Then he finds a way back after 2 months of unwatchable ball, and the 76ers are now getting healthy at the perfect time. DeAnthony Melton comes back last night. If we can get Rocco, imagine, what kind of a boost that could be on the defensive side as well. But really, it comes down to Joel Embiid. This guy is now back yet again. And for a knee that was just surgically operated on 8 weeks ago, it seems like it never even happened. Like, he is once again dominating. And the Sixers find themselves as one of the hottest teams, 6 games in a row, which could end up being 8 if they finish off the final 2 regular season games with a win. So I want to talk about the playoff picture, where I think the Sixers will land, how that could play out in these final games. But overall, we need to just give this team some credit and the 76ers themselves, for sticking with it, right? I mean, they could have kind of shut him down, etc., but he pushes through. I don't care what anybody says about Joel Embiid at this point. He is an absolute competitor. The guy could have cashed it in. He could have sat back, kicked his legs up, and said, I am done for the season. But he comes back. He decides to return. And damn it, I mean, he's an all-world talent. That's what he is. The 76ers get a big W last night. And the one thing I've noticed since Joel has been back, by the way, they're 5-0 with Joel Embiid back on the team, 4-0 since he played, because he did sit out the one game. But really, the one biggest impact is that this team knows how to close out games with Joel Embiid. When you have that presence of that type of player, that superstar level player, it's just so much easier to kind of close the gaps on a lot of the other areas. And Joel just fills a lot of those gaps. Like, he just connects the dots for this team. And the Sixers earlier this season were closing teams out in 3 quarters. Joel would have 40 points. And then he would rest for the 4th quarter. The starters would come out. Then again, for 2 months, it was almost unbearable. This team couldn't even win a game, let alone try to close a team out dominantly. And now here they are back. And last night they're kind of wavering. They're keeping it close. And then they just explode in the 3rd quarter, in the 4th quarter. And, it feels comforting watching this team play again with Joel Embiid. Here is the standings picture. Okay, the 76ers are in the 7th seed right now. They're a game behind Indiana. Cleveland is a half game above the Indiana, tied with the Magic. And the Sixers play the Magic on Friday night, and that is the entire key to this thing. Right now, as it seems, given that the Pacers have a tiebreaker over the Sixers, they're probably not going to get past Indiana. But Orlando is falling, and they are falling quick. And the fact that the Sixers play the Magic on Friday, keep in mind, the Magic play again tonight. They lost last night against the Houston Rockets. They've lost against the Hornets this past week. The Magic are not that good of a team, okay? And Milwaukee, unfortunately, had a huge injury last night. Giannis went down, and they did testing on him. They said his Achilles is okay, so it ended up not being season-ending. But he does have a calf strain, so it seems like Giannis is not going to play. That could impact Milwaukee's chances to win. But I still think that the Magic could slip up on these games just because I don't think they're that good of a team right now. They're a bit young and on the lower side. But the Orlando Magic, if they lose to the Bucks today, that'll be another half game. And then they play the Sixers on Friday. So if the Magic were to lose their next 2 games, they would actually be tied with the Philadelphia 76ers. And the Sixers hold the tiebreaker. So this game tonight for Orlando is huge. We want the Bucks to win. That way, this could hopefully be a tie on Friday, and the Sixers would leap up into the playoff above the 7th seed. That's what we need to keep our eyes on, the Sixers and with the Magic and the Brooklyn Nets. So they actually have a pretty good shot now, I'd say, to get the number 6 seed, but it all comes down to whether the Bucks can beat the Magic. But when you look at these other teams, like, for example, the Milwaukee Bucks, they just don't seem to be a threat. They don't feel that much like a force because they have Doc Rivers at the helm, and they still have had a bunch of disconnective issues this year. Like, they just don't feel together sometimes as a squad. You look at the Knicks, who are now the 3 seed. I think the Knicks could potentially be a threat in the playoffs, but they also have to stay healthy. Julius Randle's out for the season. Anunoby's been banged up. So that's something to keep your eyes on. The Magic, like I said, are just a little bit too young. The Cavaliers have continued to lose 3 in a row. They're like collapsing here to end the season. The Pacers have been on a bit of a winning streak. The Sixers are red hot. And Miami went to double OT last night and almost lost to the Atlanta Hawks. So Miami's wavering a lot, and Jimmy just doesn't seem to be playing the same this year. At the end of the day, I'm just going to say it. The Sixers are the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics right now when it comes to the Eastern Conference, and that is for a couple of reasons. But number one, they have Joel Embiid, who is the most unstoppable player in the NBA right now, especially the Eastern Conference. He's playing like an MVP yet again. He's back in MVP form. I understand health is a big, big factor here, not only with Embiid, but some of these other players, right? Maxey's been dealing with a hip, and Melton just came back, etc. But if the Sixers stay healthy, nobody can stop Joel Embiid. He has taken it to yet another level this year. He's been absolutely incredible. And whether it's the Celtics, right, Tatum and all those boys, or Giannis, whoever, nobody is going to be able to stop Joel Embiid. They're going to have to double, triple him every possession and let other guys try to beat them. Number 2, the Sixers are getting healthy at the right time. Melton comes back yesterday, looked pretty smooth. Rocco could potentially come back, provide some depth for this team. And also the Sixers are actually shaping up, in my opinion, to maybe have their best bench in the playoffs in a long time. Like, we have become so accustomed to, expecting Mike Scott to try to step up and just give us something, or I don't know, James Ennis, Shake Milton, guys like that. But now they have a legit bench, man. If Buddy Hield can do what he did last night, hit some shots, get in rhythm, as soon as I started talking smack about him, he steps up. Campaign has been a bucket getter. Nico Batum, DeAnthony Melton. If Rocco comes back in the mix, B-Ball Paul. Like, this is a much more suited bench for the playoffs than the Sixers have had in a long time. And really the last reason is because they have Tyrese Maxey, who has taken his game to another level this year. There definitely are some questions about consistency. Can he do it every game in a playoff series? But the fact of the matter is Joel Embiid is on a different plane right now, and I just don't know who's going to be able to stop him. The Sixers might have a pretty fair path to the Eastern Conference Finals. Can they finally get past those demons? If they go up, say, against, I don't know, the Magic or the Cavs in the first round, or say the Bucks, and then they play, I don't know, the Knicks in the second round, is that a potential Eastern Conference path right there for the 76ers? For once they're rested, they're healthy coming into the playoffs. Joel Embiid comes back at the perfect time. He's not gassed out for playing the last 2 months and having to carry the team. Nick Nurse is going to be a huge advantage. I continue to say that, but we have been used to having a negative effect on certain situations or in crunch time and bad substitution patterns and, just bad coaching, really. Yeah, overall, just bad coaching in the playoffs. Nick Nurse is going to reverse that tide. I think the Sixers are one of the scariest teams right now, and if I was another Eastern Conference team, I would not want to play this team, especially red hot. It's starting to feel a bit like 2018 when the Sixers won 16 in a row to end the season. It's starting to feel those kind of vibes where this team's getting hot, and they have that look in their eyes. Now, again, there's big questions. Can Tobias Harris step up and be consistent? Even if he's not scoring 20 a game, you know what he did last night? He gave you 12 rebounds. That's what we need. Will the Sixers have the balls to say bench Tobias if he comes out and he's 1 for 8 in a playoff game? Will Nick Nurse be able to do that? I think that's a huge question. And really, I think in the regular season, you need to find out your identity, establish your hierarchy. And with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Kelly Oubre, they have a fair representation of that now. And there's no ego like there was in the past. There's no James Harden saying, I want to be the number one. I need to be the guy. Everybody trusts each other. Joel Embiid has become a much better facilitator. He's getting his teammates involved. Some of those passes he had last night were absolutely insane. For Joel Embiid to come back and in 4 games be able to do this, 37, 11, 8, 3, and 2. I mean, you just got to respect the guy. You know, he wants to win. He is here for a reason, and it's time for him to prove everybody wrong. To end it off, I will say my heart was in my stomach last night. This was Joel Embiid, and he's got to stay healthy, man. This is the knee he just had the surgery on, and I guess he like slipped on a wet spot. It scared the heck out of everybody, but thankfully he came back in and he was okay. But man, this guy, I mean, he's been a walking injury. It is scary. Joel, we need you to be healthy. So we'll see how it plays out, man, but the Sixers are a legitimate contender now. They are a threat, and in my opinion, they are the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics in the East. Give me your thoughts down below. Do you agree? Disagree? Appreciate everybody tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.